My name is Shreya, and I'm here with.
I'm Rhett.
And today we're sitting down with one of probably the most iconic Sailor Moon collectors we've ever met. And we're going to go over, your collections, what got you into collecting, and kind of go over your Memoa account. So to get started, talk a little bit more about your account. We know you're a prolific Sailor Moon collector, but give us more context here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, I Sailor Moon is my first love. Growing up as a kid, they had a lot of merchandise out there. I wasn't technically allowed to have a lot of it. But when I was a kid, I loved toys as any kid does, but I particularly gravitated towards the girls' toys, the girl aisle. So my account kind of reflects that, things that I liked from when I was growing up. Bratz was a huge influential thing for me growing up. So there's a lot of things here and there, but Sailor Moon is really like what grounds me because it is like the most impactful, series, animated series. You know, let me rephrase that thought, but it had the biggest impact on me as a child that never left my life. So uh, I started collecting around 2019, but really when I was getting into collecting and I was finding other collectors that had Instagram accounts and stuff like that. That was maybe around 2020, 2021. So I also wanted to share that journey because it's fun to like search flea markets, search, random corners of the world or go online and find something that you've always wanted and to just like share it with people. And then we all talk about, our stories and why we're collecting. And then you don't feel so isolated because none of my friends are collectors in my real life. So like I'm very much alone. So to find that community is it's unique and it's special. And that's kind of what brought me into this whole world and why we're here today.
Awesome. So talk about how you specifically got into Sailor Moon because of the doll brands, Sailor Moon is definitely a niche in and of itself. So yeah, go ahead and talk more about that.
No, absolutely correct. So like I said, like I loved the show growing up and I didn't have they weren't really making a lot when I was a kid. So I think the dolls maybe were there, but like out of print at that point when I was really into it. But I had a bunch of dolls when I was a kid, like Barbie and Bratz. But when I got older, it wasn't until I was at a flea market with a friend. I had some of the Sailor Moon action figures that they released because in my teens, I had a ton of action figures because that was like more socially acceptable for a boy to have. So I had a bunch of action figures. And then, in my 20s, I started collecting the Sailor Moon action figures. But I was at a flea market and a friend pointed out to me a Sailor Moon doll that was sitting out there all by itself. And I just immediately had this, thing where I was like, I need to have it. I don't care that it's a doll. And it just that one thing, getting that one thing for the gimmick and the fun of it, sprawled into a whole collection after that. But the why Sailor Moon is just because it's my favorite show ever. And when I found out that they had dolls for pretty much every character and how expansive the merch was out in Japan in the 90s, I just got super fascinated with it all. And the collector in me needed it all. I needed to have all of them. And I know
That's
it is super niche. It is not, it's not, there's not a huge following for it, but there's a pretty big community out there. And I think there's a lot of crossover with people that like anime, people that like, magical girls or girls that fight. Having a doll like that made in the West actually was pretty important, I think, in the 90s and 2000s.
yeah, no, I'm just thinking back to Sailor Moon too. My favorite, I think, is the green one. Is that Sailor Neptune?
Well, I guess Sailor Neptune is kind of green. I think most people will associate the green one with Jupiter, but
Sailor Jupiter, my
Sailor
bad.
Neptune has the green hair. It's kind of like a teal color, maybe.
Yeah, I love again, it's like such an empowering TV show and like just series because it's all like, you can embrace your kind of magical superpowers as you've described, right? And kind of go full-fledged with all the different merch and, it's okay to be you. Um, Now which manufacturers, because I know there's a lot of Sailor Moon content, right? We have the anime figures themselves, and I know, we have a lot of Dolphy Dream collectors on Memoa who
Oh
have like
yeah.
the pretty expensive, like almost lifelike kind of thing. So what is the specific manufacturer dash brand that you collect of the Sailor Moon dolls?
Well, primarily where it started was Irwin Toy. I don't know if you're familiar with that brand. I don't know if they're still around these days, but they were a Canadian manufacturer. They took over Bandai in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s. And they made North American Sailor Moon dolls that a lot of people consider to be quite ugly. But I find them to be charming and pretty anime accurate. So those are my primary ones because those would have been the ones that I would have seen on the shelves as a kid at like KB Toys. But I would say probably like objectively the best ones are the Bandai dolls from Japan. Like those are just they have all the outfits in the glitter and they're so cute. And the packaging is phenomenal. And I could go on.
Amazing. So what we'll have you do, we're going to pull up your Memoa profile because we
Okay,
want to
cool.
see them in action. And so one thing for sure is just give me a second. So
Mhm.
the biggest part about Memoa is we all love sharing our memories and stories with our collections. So when I open up yours, I see first of all so many. I love the trading cards because they look so cute with all the Sailor Moon. So this is what when we're looking at this collection, what specific is this the Bandai dolls here?
And they're kind of all over the place. So there's a couple that are Bandai, or actually, it's half and half. Half are
Okay.
Bandai, half are Irwin Toy.
Awesome. And so let's go over a specific one. So this one right here.
Hmm.
Oh wow. So this is a really limited edition one, just looking after it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, tell us more about how you got this and what the process was.
Oh God. So I might have already been like deep into collecting and maybe about 2 or 3 years into the game. I was familiar that this doll existed. I was very familiar of how much she costs and how much people pay for her. I was not willing to do what others were willing to do, so I found her at I mean, it's a ridiculous price. I think I wrote $300. Maybe she was 400. I don't remember. I know people pay way more than that, but it was kind of one of those moments where I was on my daily eBay search and I saw her for a good price, got her just in the nick of time, and I she's mine. She's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says in the description, but these dolls weren't, I don't think they were as mass produced as the other dolls. It was her and Super Sailor Moon. Um, I only say that because it was labeled on the box. It said special offer. So I think maybe people could mail order her, or they were just at select hobby shops and not at your regular toy store. That's my understanding of it. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the reason why they are so expensive now because you don't find them as frequently online in good condition as you can the other girls.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm just looking at back to how like well articulated the figure dash doll is. But I'm also looking at the back. Is this like your collection in the back?
Yeah, that's my bookshelf. So I'm actually like right now, I'm in my office at work, which is my secondary collection room. So I have some of my stuff here, but then my collection room at home, like that's my bookshelf. And then I've got like detolf cases displaying all my dolls. And then I have a closet with more dolls and media. So yeah, that's some of my collection back there.
Very cool. And so then when we head over, let's choose a different one. So this one right here, she's such a cutie. She immediately caught my eye.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Oh, okay, yeah, tell us more about her.
Yeah, so she was released in 1995 in Japan. They're called the Nakayoshi, which is a magazine for girls. I don't know if this doll was like you ordered her from the magazine, but I don't know why they called it the Nakayoshi baby doll. That's just what it was called. But they made her and then Chibi Moon, a super version, and I don't really know the scarcity that they were made. I think you can find them pretty frequently, but people charge a lot for these dolls. Finding them in good condition with all of their accessories can be tough, especially finding it in box could be like near impossible unless you're trying to pay thousands of dollars. But what I like about her is just that she's in chibi form, which they did. This is like the only time you'll see like a chibi Sailor Moon doll. And it's cute, it's unique, and if you see the details on her clothing, it's just very 90s. It has that certain kind of fabric, like on her skirt, her sleeves, that just like to me reminds me of toys when I was a kid. And she's just adorable, and there's nothing else like her. So I just obsess over her. And she's squishy. She's cotton in the middle, so you can squish
Oh,
her.
that's amazing. And so
Yeah.
when you're looking through your collection, overall, right? So you have all the Sailor Moon like characters as dolls here?
Hmm. Yeah, I pretty much have every character. Now, I don't have every version of every character, but I at least have, the whole, all of the girls, are in my world. The girls that are in the Sailor Moon world are replicated in my own toy room.
I love that. And yeah, so we really love your collection and we want to see more, especially the brats. And I'm sure, do you collect the anime figures too, or just the dolls?
Oh yeah, I've got different. I mean, I've got Sailor Moon figures. I don't collect all of them. No, anime figures tend to be static, so like you can't pose them, you can't
Yeah,
do anything. I only collect the ones where you can move them because for me that's fun. I can change up the poses. I can do photography with them, so that's important to me. So yeah, I do, and I just have so many things, and I would love to document them all. And I really love this app because I've always wondered like I should have documentation of the things I have in my collection because there's a lot that I maybe don't post on my Instagram or my other social medias, things that just kind of live in a box. And it would be nice to just have like a catalog of them to just like remember. And that's kind of what it was about. Like when I started was just to have some sort of documentation of what I had, like a little picture book, like I was looking at a magazine. So I commend you guys for making this app because it is perfect for that.
that's so great to hear. So awesome. We're going to wrap up that's a great way to wrap up the interview portion. So once